Hello, welcome to the crafting table. This is the month recap for No Man's Land, the March month. And it looks like we're just going to be doing some palette moving right here in the beginning. I try to be all fancy with how I put the pallets in. Trying to make them as organized as possible in the shed here. And make it neat and tidy. Eventually I end up getting one of those pallet sheds. The ones that you can request for. You can pull pallets back out and they stack them up nice and neat in front of you so you can load them up. But for now, this is what we are doing. And I think, okay, so March you can plant oats. So I believe that's what we're doing here. We're planting oats this month. Just driving on to the shop here and grabbing the cedar. And this is about, I think this is the smallest cedar. This is the smallest cedar that we can grab. That gives the ability to seed and cultivate at the same time. Like no previous cultivation is required. So we're using that to try and maximize the environment score, get as much money out of these fields and different things as possible. And I think I tried doing this in cab view for a while, and then I kind of just get tired of messing with it, and then I go back to third person. Especially with the shape of my fields and such, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to do it. So I decided to just go back to third person mode eventually. And just trying to follow the line to the T is not that easy, honestly. Even with the line set out for you. Because you always feel like you're going straight, you know. You always feel like you're on a straight path, and then the line, you know, the line or the rows that you're planting looks like they veer off and whatnot. So, and I'm not saying I'm a perfectionist, not by any means, but I do like neat and tidy lines on my fields. I can't remember if I completely finished this field in a single day or not. I don't know if I did. Probably. But we went a little bit past 5 o'clock. I did not finish the whole field, so that looks like probably something I'll end up finishing the following day. I don't even think I ended up using all the seed on this. So I'm recording these a lot later. So don't be surprised if it sounds like I can't remember anything, because I'm recording the voiceover much later after the footage was recorded. We have a lot of things going on in life right now, so I had the footage ready. It's just getting the voiceovers and getting the edits done. Because obviously this isn't my, source of living, so I don't put as much into this as I do my actual work and my family and such. Those take priority right now over basically my hobby, or a hobby. One of my hobbies. think we're just putting away the lettuce. And it's funny too, because I'm watching this after I started a different way of editing things to get it down to roughly like 15-20-ish minutes per video. This one's a little over 30, or about almost 37 minutes long, I think. But I end up cutting out a lot of the filler in later videos about the No Man's Land kind of recap. And these are going to be, from now on, these will be coming out once a month, and it'll be an entire month in like a 15 to 20-ish minute video, depending on what's going on in it. But I'm going to try and keep them down to 15-20 minutes, because it's mostly just a recap. It's kind of like, you know, hey, here are the highlights for March, April, May, June, July. Because a lot of these months between planting seasons and harvesting and such like that, it's just mostly busy work. It's putting things away. Since it is on a 28-day month setting, it's mostly putting, getting pallets out of the way so more pallets can be generated from the different greenhouses and such like that, and to try and keep the pallets underneath something to kind of be like, oh, keep them out of the weather and such. I end up doing something much different with the fields later on. I think it's in July. July is when you can harvest oats, and then I decide to do something different with the fields, because I kind of swivel my goals around, because I have quite a bit of equipment used for cutting grass and making silage and all that stuff to sell that. But I can also make hay, because I make hay for the sheep right here. Well, the sheep can't eat all the hay that I produce, and I don't want to just sell the hay as is, because it really doesn't. It'll make some money, but it's not enough. So I kind of decided in later months that I think I want to try and just get some cows, get some milk production. Milk sells for a decent amount, just the milk by itself even. And I thought, since one of the goals of this kind of playthrough farm, whatever you want to call it, is to produce cereal, I figured why not also produce milk and cereal. Made sense to me at the time. So it's kind of a pain to get cereal going. Like, it'll take a long time to get cereal production going, because you got to have raisins, which means you have to have grapes, which means you have to have a grape processor to process the grapes into raisins. And if I get the milk first, I don't know, this is kind of the thought process I had in my head. Milk sells for a decent amount, so the milk production could help me end up paying to get the cereal production underway. So we're just moving some more pallets right now, it looks like. Looks like we got some tomatoes and... I was about to say onions, but honey. I don't know where I got onions from. But yeah, we got some tomatoes and honey over here. And honey is easy to get. I mean, that's part of the cereal production line. But honey is super easy to get. You just place down some beehives and you're off to the races. And honey does sell for a pretty decent amount month to month. And there's almost no work involved aside from moving the pallet, which could be argued is its own pain in the backside, specifically in this game. Looking at you, Giants. Fix your pallet game. Especially in... I'm going to go off on a little mini rant here. Especially in Farming Simulator 22. 19 had its own problems, don't get me wrong. But pallets weren't as prevalent in that one. This game is all about pallets and production lines. Now, I know you can have your stuff distributed throughout your production line, so that way the only time you ever have to mess with a pallet is when you go to sell. But we've already seen kind of how that goes with selling things, like just placing pallets on the back of a trailer. I don't know, seems like something that should be fixed. Seems like something they need to work on, still, to this day. And that's kind of why I probably won't be paying for future content from them. I think this might be my last farming simulator game, I'm not sure. It's a little disappointing. Although that isn't the entire game. You can get an autoloader mod. I don't use autoloader mods as often, at least on this file, this farm. I haven't really been using an autoloader mod at all. And I say I haven't really because later on you'll see in a later episode, I believe it's June, you'll see a month where I just get fed up with the pallet thing. And I end up getting, because I do have an autoload mod trailer that I use from time to time if I'm playing like by myself or with my brother or something like that. We'll use the autoloader mod just for expediency's sake. He likes using the pallet system, like he likes using the pallet forks and whatnot too, but he got frustrated. I mean, I get frustrated from it too. We both get frustrated from it. And when it's an online game that we're playing and you're getting messed around by lag and whatnot, you can only take so much of that before it's like, all right, let's just get an autoloader mod and just use that. So I do end up using, excuse my bad English, I do end up using an autoloader trailer, but you'll end up seeing why in June. So it looks like we're just going to be finishing out the field over here, planting the oats. Because I thought what I wanted to do was just plant the specific type of grain, vegetable, whatever you want to call it. I think the game calls it vegetables. But I thought I was going to be doing the grain or crop that was related to the whole cereal making production line, and then go and end up getting the vineyard going. But I think the milk idea will work a little better. Yeah, see, later in the series, a lot of this filler stuff is cut out. I just kind of show me leaving the field and then me parking, type of thing. Like, that's how it would be later on. So this video is a little bit longer than future No Man's Land updates. Looks like we're in, what is it? We're almost to the end of week 1. Got a nice rainstorm going on this day. Last day of week 1 here, March 7th. And we're just, looks like, doing the standard stuff again, just moving the pallets around. I believe... Oh man, I want to say that it's time to cut the grass, but I don't actually know. No, April would be the first month you would cut the grass, because it'd be fully grown in. Yeah, because this is the month right after winter. March is the month. March is the first month of spring. So you see how the grass is lower. There's no like wildflowers on the grass or anything like that. So that means you would even with meadow grass like that on the left-hand side there of the shed, you would get less grass if you were to cut that in March. I think it's every 2 months. So if you cut the grass in April, you have to wait, I want to say May, you could cut it again. But it would be a lot less. Because once you mulch down the grass, it goes into a, almost grown again state. And I think May you can cut it again, but you're not going to get as much. So if you wait until June, you would get a lot more, I think. But I'm really not that sure. I'm gonna have to recheck that. It's when the grass is fully grown is when you get the most amount. But I'm not really 100% sure when that is, or what the amount difference is either. Might be something I might test in my free time, just to see what's going on in the background for those. Looks like we ended up finishing the field just north of the small grass field near the sheep barn. Looks like more pallets. Trying to straighten out the honey pallets. Lots of pallets. So many things get produced in just a couple days. The mushroom and flower production is through the roof, so that one, it's pretty much every other day you have to move those around. But it also uses water like crazy. And it looks like I finished up this field as well. This one's a really, really screwy field, honestly. There we go. And looks like I need to refill these greenhouses. Okay. Can't remember why I set it for so early. I think it's because I had to go to the shop, maybe? Because I usually just set it for 9 o'clock and then be about my business. Oh, the roller. We gotta roll the fields now. That's right. Because I've been trying to maximize as much as possible. So just rolling the fields out. And I don't remember if I'm able to complete all the fields before the end of the day, or if I have to end up paying for another day of leasing. Which, I mean, it's kind of hard to not be able to, or it's kind of hard not to pay for the extra couple of days of leasing for some of this stuff, just because my tractor is really slow. It's like, what is it, 15 miles an hour is like max speed. Doesn't get a lot of things done. Plus, it's only 150 horsepower, so it's struggling just pulling this around. It was pulling me around, honestly, is what was going on. Like, look at this. Takes a while to get started, especially this field right here has got probably the biggest incline out of all my fields. Look at this thing. It's a little tractor that could. Come on, buddy. You can make it. I believe in you. There you go. It was just getting up that, going back and forth over the field here, getting up that hill in the center there. I can't believe I actually finished all of them in one day. I know there was something. There was something that took multiple days to complete. And I had to keep the leasing. I had to keep leasing the piece of equipment for a few days. Alright, moving on to March 12. I think that property income is definitely a lot more realistic, so to speak, than the amount of flowers and mushrooms I get per month to sell. The property income is not that bad in this game. I think they've actually tweaked it to where it's pretty decent. It's not like, say, Farming Simulator 15, where you could, as soon as you were able to place down that first 1.5 million windmill, I mean, you were making money hand over fist just sitting around watching it spin. You didn't have to do anything. And eventually it would just snowball into you putting down, you know, 50 of them or something and getting all the money. And then 19, I don't think 19 had any. Did 19 have placeable income generators? Base game? I don't think so. I don't remember any. They definitely didn't have greenhouses base game. I know they had mods for these types of things, but I never used the what were those things? The government subsidies mod? Because I think it was like $1 million a day or some crazy nonsense. I was just like, no, I'm not doing that. That's weird. It's a weird mod to have. I think, and you know what'd be funny is if you had that mod for government subsidy, you know, the government subsidy mod, so you would get, you know, a daily income or a monthly income or whatever on the game, but then you would have to provide, you know, X amount of this type of crop, because that's what the subsidy's for. That's why they're subsidizing your farm, is because they're basically, they're paying you to grow a specific type of crop. Like, say, oh, we need more government corn. Excuse me. Or government wheat. Or something, you know. And that's why they're paying you to do it. And that's why you would accept a government subsidy. It's because you're growing a specific type of crop for them. Either for them or because, you know, there's some sort of hole in supply or some nonsense. I mean, it's not like I know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to that, but, and that's what I would figure would happen is if you took a government subsidy, you would have to grow a specific crop that they wanted you to grow because they're paying you to do it. That'd make the mod a little bit more realistic than just put this sign on your on your land and we're gonna give you, you know, it's like 10 or 50 grand a day or whatever it is that mod does. Looks like March 18th, just more pallet moving. March 19th. Moving on to more pallet moving. I think there was something else that I ended up doing this month aside from pallet moving, but I'm not sure. I mean, I know I sell stuff at the end of every month. Oh, this is a month we get lettuce. Oh, we already had lettuce. It must have been one of those special months where we end up getting 2 lettuce pallets. More honey. The honey production we have right now is actually pretty decent. Many, many hives. I think eventually I'll end up moving all the hives to one central location so they're not spread out all over the place. I do like the look, though, of how there's like some near fields and kind of off the beaten path, because that's what you would want to do, is you'd want to spread out your beehives all over the place for maximum like coverage. Because I do live in kind of an agricultural center, and when I would, if my job took me out to kind of like the country areas and whatnot instead of being around in town, like there's a lot of orchards out here, so, or I mean fields in general, but you'd pass an orchard and like there'd be an orchard in a country block area, so it's probably roughly about a mile or a half mile long going past it down the road, and roughly about center or somewhere along the line there would be beehives, but you'd only see like, you know, one amount of beehives. I don't know how many Langstroths or whatever it's called it would be, but there would be one, you know, bunch of boxes that were beehives stacked on one another. How many Langstroths that is, I have no idea, but they would have one there, and then you'd go down, and then you'd go past another one, you'd see another one, you know, eventually. And I think they spread them out like that so that way they get the maximum coverage. I would imagine that's why they do it. So March 23rd, we're getting close to selling time now. I think towards the end of editing March is when I was like, you know what, this is a little long. I think I need to kind of shorten this down some, so that's why it seems like it's going a lot faster now. But it's still 9 minutes. I'm pretty sure I speed this up pretty good later on. Yeah, it's roughly like that. Kinda like that. So just loading this stuff up, getting it ready for the shop, see how much money we make, and I can't remember if I spent any of the money in March for anything. No, eventually I want like a nice area where there's storage and other things. Looks like made $16,375, $972 extra dollars off of the environmental score. Environs. I think I end up stacking them up like this because it's always, I don't know, I always change the way I stack things, stack pallets in this game, just because it's like, okay, I'm not doing that again, or I need to do it a different way now because the stuff's like falling off or flying around or acting screwy. I don't know why I started selling so early in March too. I think I was just getting, I think I might have recorded this on a work day where I got back from work and I was like, oh, I need to record some No Man's Land stuff, and 5,097, 302, so 53.99. It's not too terrible. respectable numbers for honey, sort of. I think April is the best month to sell honey on this map. Not sure. Alright, March 25 now. The morning of March 25. Well, steady on. Almost fell forward. Those mushroom pallets are heavy. I think they weigh a ton or close to 1 ton. So it looks like, yeah. See what the trailer is doing. I don't know if you're able to see that. It's pretty. It's kind of hard to, you know what I mean. It's kind of hard to see it from that, you know, from where I was looking. But yeah, I don't understand like the trailer and pallet physics in this game sometimes. Like you'll be trying to load up a trailer, right? And so you'll load some up, and then you're getting ready to load more up. So what you do is you strap the other pallets down, so that way you can load the other pallets on top of it. Let's just see how much we make off of this here before I continue my rant, my second rant of this video. Pretty decent. 17,489, 1,038. Yeah, so it's kind of, I think flowers and mushrooms are kind of broken. I don't know. They seem kind of broken. I mean, it's part of the No Man's Land map, so it's kind of like, well, I mean, I'm going to use it. It's part of the map. I mean, I'm not going to do the gold production one because it just seems crazy to me to be able to just make gold. Transmuted out of thin air or something? I have no idea. I mean, it's like stone and water and lime or something, or no, methane. Is it methane? Yeah, I think it's methane, and like you just like compress gold or something. I have no idea. Do some crazy alchemy. But back to the pallet thing. Yeah, like I'll be loading a trailer like that, and it happens even worse with I don't know the terminology for the hitches. I don't pull trailers on anything, so I'm not really familiar with the terminology on the hitches and everything like that. I'm just gonna call that a straight neck hitch. I think it's actually called gooseneck. Or no, I think gooseneck is the one that like goes up and curves down maybe and goes onto a thing in the back of a truck bed maybe. I'm not sure. But the straight neck hitches like that, right? Those trailers aren't too bad when it comes to loading the pallets on in the game here. They still will they'll shift. Like their whole weight will shift around while nothing is happening sometimes. If you have pallets loaded on it, it'll just start shifting. $4,343, $257 bonus on that load. Pretty decent, pretty decent. We made some pretty good money in this month so far, and I don't think we're done yet. Because I'm over here going off on the pallets. I'm sitting here not paying attention. But those trailers are a lot easier to load onto, especially if you have the low loader ones. But the hitches where it's like it's a hitch and then the axle that it's connected to on the trailer moves as well. I don't know what that's called. I'm sorry. You know, I have no idea what that's called. But those trailers are even worse. Let's see what we make off this one. This little load. I saw we had the wool. Alright, $4,762. $282 on the environmental score. We started at what, like 1,000 something? Looks like I bought some fuel while I was at the shop. We started at about 1,000 something when we started selling. Maybe 2,000. So about 49,000 is pretty decent. And I want to say I already paid the 5,000 to the bank for the loan, but I don't remember. looks like we still have a couple of days to go. What are we off doing? Yeah, a few more pallets. Just stragglers, basically, from this day to the next, I want to say. I think I was just thinking, I need every penny I can get right now. Because I know I wanted to shift around a lot of different things. Even at this point, I wanted to move around a lot of different buildings and everything like that. Yeah, see, I even waited for another couple of pallets of flowers and mushrooms. Alright, let's see what we get. And the strawberries are going to take forever to sell. That's why the zoom goes so slow. It's like, yes? Those strawberry and tomato pallets, man. I don't understand why they do that. 33.30. So we got a pretty decent amount of money. I'm just putting the trailer back here. Parking up and finishing. I don't even know why I show this. It should just be me getting out of the tractor. Future videos, that's how it will be, trust me. I speed it up by a lot more. Oh, I think I just paid the... Yeah, I just paid the loan just now. I'll always try and have that on video. But that'll do it for this video. Thanks for stopping by and checking out No Man's Land. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Till then, have a great night, everyone.